Devon Teague also here. He's going to be playing Abzan.
One of the problems with playing Storm, to me, in Modern, is that what other decks are trying to do to disrupt regular decks also does a very good job of disrupting the Storm deck. So you're super reliant on these cost reducers, the Electromancer and the Baral, and almost everyone shows up with removal for 2-mana creatures. So you're walking right into the teeth of Fatal Push. Lots of decks are using discard to disrupt their opponents. That's also very good against Storm. So it's hard to, even if you're catching people unaware, they're not really ready for Storm. There's just so much collateral damage when they're just trying to beat regular creature decks that they still beat the Storm deck.
Caleb is going to kick things off with a Scalding Tarn. Going to search for a basic item. I think we'll see a cantrip here in just a moment. And Devon, you see Abzan as the deck name here. There's a sleight of hand by Caleb, looking at a Desperate Ritual, among other things. So he's going to take that. Other card's going to go to the bottom. But you see Devon Teague is playing Abzan. This is just boring old regular Abzan, a deck that you have had some success with as well. So we got Tarmogoyfs and Grimflayers, Scavenging Oozes, Siege Rhinos, discard spells, Lilianas. You know the drill here. Nothing too crazy going on. So Caleb's just hoping to not play against too many discard spells because the creatures aren't really going to play much of a role in things. And so he'll just play Ace Demon Defense untapped and pass the turn back. Perhaps he's got a Remand at the ready. Devon, however, just has a Blooming Marsh and a passing of the turn. So if you're Caleb, you got to be feeling pretty good, except for missing that third land drop, of course.
Yeah, he actually wants to fire off this Remand to dig through his deck a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Well, this will help. It's a Tarmogoyf that's going to be remanded. Caleb will draw a copy of Serum Visions. Fetch line there for Devon, and we go back over to Caleb. He'll draw.
Now, this Abzan deck we're seeing is different from the Abzan Traverse deck that we saw earlier, in that it's just a little bit bigger. It's not going to play the zero-cost artifacts. It's not going to play Traverse the Uvenwald. Still playing Lingering Souls, still playing a lot of the same creatures. It has Siege Rhino on the top end. Mm-hmm. That's a little bit bigger. Lots of Planeswalkers. To me, this deck's not in a good spot right now. It's a little bit slower. I mean, we watch these Grixis Death Shadow decks just do so much with 1 mana every single turn. Just this 1 mana spell, this 1 mana spell, this 1 mana spell. Delve a Giant Fatty into play. Play my Death Shadow. It's a 6/6 for 1. And, you know, I think Abzan is, I don't know, maybe it's a little dated right now.
Feels a little bit dated. It does. But a 9-2 record, nothing to ignore.
No, of course.
Great start here for Devon Teague. You saw Noxious Revival here for Caleb. It's going to put a fetch land back on top of the deck. He paid 2 life to do that. Then he played a Serum Vision, so he able to draw the card. So he's found his third land drop. Now he split the difference on the scry. Yeah, you know, Abzan is just in a weird spot, I think. I don't think there's anything bad about the deck, but there's nothing that's compelling about the deck either. It just kind of exists. I mean, I felt the same way about Jund last week, or 2 weeks ago with Reed.
Yep.
Right? And, you know, Reed made a deep run and made the top 8. So who am I? What do I even know?
Sure. But on the flip side, Reed's the type of player where he could pick up any deck. He'll put together a very good build of it, and he's going to play better than almost everyone in the room.
Yeah. Inquisition of Kozilek.
Of the venue campus, please make sure that you are leaving the venue property in order to do any smoking.
Let's take a look at what Caleb is working with here. He's got a Remand, 2 copies of Manamorphose, 2 copies of Gifts Ungiven, and a Desperate Ritual. Remember, he scribed the top card of his deck to the top so he knows what he's going to draw. We don't, but he does.
Yeah, and this hand's all set up. Just 1 cost reducer, and this hand can start going to town.
Yeah, he can absolutely go nuts. Will he get the opportunity? We'll see. And how does Devon want to try to poke a hole in this hand? I think the only real way to poke a hole in this hand is probably to take the Desperate Ritual, but he's actually going to go with the Remand. Now here's a threatened Tarmogoyf, but Caleb's life total very high at 15, so he doesn't care all that much.
Sure, I think Devon's thought process there is, I need to get some threats onto the board. I need to get a little pressure. Even if I take the Ritual, you know, I'm going to let him remand my Tarmogoyf. He's going to draw a card from that. I'm going to have no pressure again next turn. You know, there's just so much time involved there. He wanted to get something on the board.
Well, Caleb looks like he might be going to work here because he just found a copy of Goblin Electromancer. He left that on top of his deck. So he can play that, and now he can really start casting some spells, and this might be game over right now, folks. And I think he might be reaching for those little mana counters that we do provide in the feature match area. Make things easier for our players and make it easier for you at home to view. We'll see exactly how much he wants to try to go for things here as he's going to play this Electromancer.
Do you remember the time before the mana tiles?
Long time ago.
Yeah, but just players trying to keep track of this. Like, each player was trying to keep track on their own pad of paper.
Yeah.
It's just so messy. And the first time you see these, you're like, man, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Why did it take us so long to get here?
Desperate Ritual, now Manamorphose. Means that Caleb will have 2 red and 2 blue. Is that Apostle's Blessing?
That is Apostle's Blessing.
That's a 1 of. All right.
You got to protect those Electromancers.
I mean, they
and
are
Barals.
very important. That's a wild 1 of, though, I must say. Another Manamorphose, 2 gifts, and an Apostle's Blessing in hand. Remember, Caleb has not played a land yet this turn. He fetched for a land, a mountain, but he has not played a land yet. And now he is mathing.
Yeah, he's doing some math here. He's going to want to gifts.
Leaving a red available.
He's going to want to get 3 ritual effects. And the Past in Flames here, I believe.
He might. I don't know if he's got interest in finding a land or not, just because he hasn't played a land yet. That could work itself into the equation. But let's see what 4 cards number 6 on the SCG Tour leaderboard wants to dig out of his deck.
Maybe it's a little chilly in the feature match area. That's why we're seeing all these hats.
The beanie?
Well, and we saw the big hat last round.
I think that's a different situation entirely. If I had to guess,
You don't think he wears that just to keep his ears warm?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
What do we got here? It looks like 3 rituals and the Past in Flames.
Storm Master. Desperate Ritual, Pyretic Ritual, Manamorphose, and the Past in Flames, as you did mention. Remember, very important to note that Caleb has not played a land yet this turn. I think you're supposed to give Manamorphose and Pyretic, Manamorphose and
Past in Flames.
And Past in Flames, yeah. I think that's what you're supposed to give.
I believe that gives him the highest chance of fizzling here.
Correct.
He's going to have to cycle each of these Manamorphose. Hope he generates a way to come up with 1 more mana.
Yep. Because Manamorphose is going to be +1 because it's cheaper.
Yep.
So you're generating mana and getting to see a card, which is always lovely. But you can't give him an actual ritual, I don't think. Oh, boy. Okay.
Yep. You got nervous there.
Yeah. Do not give him those.
Give him all the mana?
Yeah. You are all the dead then.
Sorry, I think Caleb needs to get a little bit lucky here.
I do too. He'll draw. Ooh, Spirebuff Canal is actually not lucky at all. It's a land, but it does not enter the battlefield untapped. Draw. Brawl. Well, we must rebuild it.
Yeah, this looks like a fizzle.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty fortunate for Devon there. I think Caleb had a very good shot of going off.
So now he's going to play Brawl with the red floating. I think he should play it. Because then he's got 2 cost reducers on the battlefield. Devon needs to kill both of them.
Yeah.
And now just pass.
Oh, he didn't play his land.
Oh, he definitely should have played his land. Yeah, that's a mistake. Especially because then there's the battlefield tapped. Now keep in mind, Past in Flames 5 to flashback.
Yeah, 1 more mana.
So it'll cost 3.
Correct.
Yeah, that really hurts, and then he didn't play that land. Here comes Goyf.
Well, he does still have a lot of life here.
Mm-hmm.
He might be thinking, all right, I'm going to have 1 turn to set up. You know, at the end of next turn, he can cast the other Gifts Ungiven in his hand.
Abrupt Decay is going to take care of Goblin Electromancer, it appears. Actually, ooh, okay.
Yep.
All right, Apostle's Blessing for free. I get it. It costs 1 less. Do you get it? You pay 2 life. You get it. Path? I'd love to be pathed. I would love a path to exile.
Yeah, pathing this deck hurts.
I'm killing for a land here.
I think it's more important to get the cost reducer off the board.
Oh, for sure. The cost reducers are the best part of the deck. Without them, the deck is... I don't even know if the deck can function correctly.
Yeah.
But you want to path me? Yes, please. Needed a land anyway, thanks.
Well, when the opponent's tapped out, you're not expecting this Apostle's Blessing.
Mm-hmm. Another removal spell, perhaps? Another path? Yeah. It makes sense that that Devon would have so many removal spells because he didn't do anything, really.
Yeah.
So what else would his hand be?
Yeah, there was no discard or creatures on the early turns there.
Mm-hmm. So 2 paths will take care of both cost reducers. Now Caleb needs to rebuild entirely.
I still think he's... he needs another cost reducer.
Well, he has that Gifts Ungiven. He's going to get another turn, it looks like.
Yeah.
So I could see him playing the Spire Bluff Canals, then playing Gifts Ungiven on Devon Teague's end step, searching up maybe cost reducers plus rituals, trying to go off from there.
He does have a very healthy graveyard right now.
Yes. That's the good part for Caleb. Caleb eyeing up that hand. Makes you wonder if he realized he didn't play that Spire Bluff Canals the turn he could have. And if that will come back to hurt him or not. Now he'll play that land, he'll pass the turn back. We're going to go over to Devon. Remember that Tarmogoyf, not all that big, actually.
Huge graveyards.
Yeah.
Small Goyf.
I believe it is land, sorcery, and instant. Here's an, oh, my goodness.
That was a good one. Wow.
My goodness. That Nile Spellbomb, 2 of in the main deck here for Devon Teague, is a perfect draw.
Slide the advantage bar the other way.
Yeah, we are very heavily in Devon's favor now. Here's a Lingering Souls. I have no idea how Caleb's supposed to win now. Legitimately no clue. His deck has to go off through the graveyard, especially when the game is like this.
Yeah, he used so many resources the other turn. It's not like he's going to have the hand to just do it that way.
Gifts Ungiven here for Caleb. I'm curious to see what he can find. Especially because this deck, this version, is not built around Pyromancer's Ascension. They've left that.
Yeah.
For these 8 cost reducers and Baral Chief of Compliance and Goblin Electromancer. So he's trying to use that graveyard, or he's got to get very fortunate. We'll see if he can do either.
He's putting together a plan right now.
Cost reducer mania. Yep. Baral, Electromancer, Grape Shot, Manamorphose. For those of you wondering, Caleb playing 3 copies of Grape Shot here this weekend. We'll see how Devon wants to split these up.
Yeah, this is a little bit interesting. It doesn't help you close out the game a whole lot faster, but there's some interest in just giving him the 2 cost reducers. Because all of these cards in this graveyard are just going away.
They're essentially textless. You're always scared when you're playing against Storm, though. Everything seems kind of threatening, you know? Interesting little split here. Yeah, I think you want the pile with the Grape Shot to maybe find a way to cheese your way to victory. Seems like one of the only ways he can get it done here. Tarmogoyf for 4/5 now because there's a creature in the graveyard. Caleb picked up another copy of Past in Flames, not what the doctor ordered.
awkward card right now.
Yeah. Play Scalding Tarn, now an Electromancer.
Yeah, he's just going to open with the Past in Flames, I think.
Yeah, I think you have to. At this point, Caleb needs Devon to make a serious pilot error.
Yes.
That's his only out. And you have to play to your outs to try to win sometimes. So here's Past in Flames. And if Devon did not do this, then Caleb could have a chance, but he did. So Caleb probably does not. Instead, something is going to have to go very right for Mr. Scherer. Now, again, it's not impossible. It's just highly improbable.
And this is kind of the collateral damage situation that I was talking about. His cost reducers all got hit with removal spells. His graveyard just got ate up by a spell bomb that's in there more for Grixis Death Shadow or a matchup like that.
Or Dredge.
Or Dredge.
You know. There is a way to do it, but it's really hard. It is really, really hard. Now, Devon can present lethal here with Tarmogoyf and Shambling Vent. I'm taking that damage. And now I'm dead. Okay. Now I'm dead to Siege Rhino. So, if you drew a Gifts Ungiven, if Caleb drew a Gifts Ungiven that turn, he might be able to go off again.
Sure.
Because he had a Past in Flames in hand. So some weird combination may have presented itself, but Siege Rhino closed that one out.
Yeah, I still think it would have been close. I mean, he lost so many cards in the graveyard that first time around.
Yeah. A lot of rituals and Manamorphose.
Yeah.
So it would have been very difficult for Caleb to get the job done. He was unable to. Devon Teague up a game now over Caleb Scherer. Abzan up a game over Giftstorm. We'll start with Caleb's sideboard. He's got 3 Empty the Warrens, 3 Lightning Bolts, 2 Swan Songs, 2 Pyroclasm, 2 Pieces of the Puzzle. Don't see that card very often. Oh, the Shattering Spree, an Echoing Truth, and a Dismember. Craig, what do we like over there?
You know, after his whole game plan got literally blown up by a spell bomb, these Empty the Warrens kind of get, attractive. You can just play a bunch of ritual effects on your turn, play Empty the Warrens, and you don't have to worry about going through your graveyard to get a great effect. And Devon is unlikely to initially bring in a bunch of answers for 1/1s, unless he's super familiar with this matchup. So I like the Empty the Warrens. We might see the Dismember come in to take out a big guy, and if he's going this little bit slower game plan, we might see the Pieces of the Puzzle come in too. It's a great way to bounce back from a flurry of discard spells.
For Devon, I like the idea of maybe a little Empty the Warrens plan there for Caleb, but we take a look at Devon. You see 3 Fulminator Mage, 2 Kitchen Finks, 2 Stony Silence, 2 Surgical Extraction, a Blessed Alliance, a Getting Allies Zendikar, a Creeping Corrosion, Affinity Hater, a Collective Brutality, a Damnation, and a Graph Digger's Cage. Nothing really stands out here as excellent against Storm outside of that Collective Brutality, I think.
The Collective Brutality is definitely great. It takes out the creature, it duresses the opponent, it just kind of does it all. The Surgical Extractions might come in. You can really catch an opponent unaware. But a lot of these other cards are not for this type of matchup. Well,
These players will shuffle up.
potentially that Graph Digger's Cage.
Yeah, I think that's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. They'll sideboard, they'll shuffle up. Caleb on the receiving end of a very powerful main deck copy of Nile Spellbomb. That's why he's down this game. So we'll see if he can tie things up with his Storm deck and move on to 10-2. Or perhaps it'll be Devon Teague with Abzan making a run towards elimination rounds. But for now, let's talk about the StarCityGames.com newsletter. It's your source for Magic the Gathering news, where you can find highlights from some of our very best articles each and every week, the upcoming SCG Tour dates and locations. You can find IQs and game nights near you, along with exclusive cardboard crack comic. Best of all, it's free to sign up for. Go to StarCityGames.com/newsletter for more information. You're going to be on the internet anyway, so you might as well get your newsletter every week and get some of the best Magic the Gathering news out there on the internet. As we get ready here for game number 2, we'll take a moment here to learn a little more about Caleb Scherer, our Storm player, who we've seen so much here on the SCG Tour. He's 28 years old from St. Louis, Missouri. Bit of a hike to get out here, but he always finds a way. 3 open top 8s, 2 invitational top 8s with that win in Las Vegas a couple of years ago. That qualified him for the Players' Championship. And we can't forget last year, he was the runner-up at the Players' Championship, lost to his good friend and teammate Joe Lissette in the finals. He's a graduate student in mathematics, working on differential geometry. he lives basically out of his entire backpack. He doesn't need much because all he does is play Storm every tournament, so he doesn't have to get a new deck. And he's a big fan of Peanuts, is Caleb Scherer, the 28-year-old member of Team Card Hoarder.
Give us just a quick elementary rundown on differential geometry.
You know, it's tough to do it so quickly. I would need a lot of time to be able to do it.
Okay.
And you just don't have enough time for that right now.
Okay, yeah, because I don't understand what it is, so I thought you could just...
Well, it's just so advanced. And it would be difficult for me to really get into the simple intricacies of it here on the broadcast. So,
all right, later tonight at dinner.
Yeah, post-show.
Appreciate that.
I'll fire up maybe a Facebook Live video, and I'll break it down for everybody.
For everyone. I love
for
that.
everybody. Yeah.
Good
That's
looking
how I'll
out.
do it. Yeah. Serum Visions is where Caleb will start.
Thinking about this a little more, Devon has a lot of cards that aren't really great in this matchup in his main deck. So we might see some of these more obscure sideboard cards come in. Maybe he brings in the Damnation as a insurance. There's the Grafdigger's Cage. The Lingering Souls aren't great in this matchup. He's got a whole ton of different removal. He wants some of it, but not all of it. He like Liliana the Last Hope doesn't seem great in this matchup. So I can see him bringing in some of these cards that don't seem great initially because he just has so many other mediocre cards in the main deck for this matchup.
We'll take a look at Grafdigger's Cage very quickly for those who are unaware. Haven't seen it a lot this weekend. Obviously a powerful card.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not on a bigger upswing right now.
With the kind of incline we've seen on Dredge. Creature cards can't enter the battlefield from graveyards or libraries, and players can't cast cards in graveyards or libraries. As Caleb, he's casting a ritual right now.
Ooh.
Metamorphose.
Is it Gobbo's time?
Look, you got to find a way to win.
Ooh.
Scalding Tarn. Here's Baral. This is Gobbo's time. It's Desperate Ritual. And now, Gobbo's. Well, I love it. It's 10-1-1s on turn 2.
That's a lot of Gobbos.
Take that, Grafdigger's Cage.
Graveyard hate?
Yeah. This is a way to sidestep it now. Devon could have an answer, and that would be that. But, look, you got to try. If Devon is all discard and being reactive, he's going to die in, you guessed it, 2 turns.
Yeah, and Devon has a main deck Maelstrom Pulse.
Cool.
Might have sided it out because it's one of the clunkier removal spells.
It is. 3-mana way to take care of one of those Electromancers is not ideal.
Yeah.
Yep.
If it was sided out, it's coming right back in.
Yes. Yeah. Got him real good, though, so far. Let's see what this is. Well, it's an Abrupt Decay. Fine, Baral's dead. That's step 1. You better have that pulse because you're going down to 7. Caleb will play a Scalding Tarn, pass the turn back. Is it Maelstrom Pulse? It's not Maelstrom Pulse. Well, there you go. Caleb Scherer going to very quickly tie things up here against Devon Teague. Blue-Red Gift Storm. Let's rename it to Blue-Red Empty the War. It's going to tie things up here against Obzon. That's one of the tricks. That's one of the tricks here.
Yeah, Caleb showed up with his Goblins deck for this event.
Yeah, that's one of the tricks. That's one of the nice things about Storm. You get to be a little bit more flexible, I guess, for lack of a better term, especially after sideboard, because now Devon has to respect the fact that you have Empty the Warrens.
Yep.
And he might have to get a little wonky with how he sideboards.
Yep.
But when you see your opponent gets a turn 2 Pyretic Ritual, you are not happy.
You know something's up.
Yeah. So do you think now that he's seen Empty the Warrens, do you think anything changes? For example, there's a Damnation in the sideboard, and he's on the play.
Yeah, like I said, he has enough dead cards here in his main deck that I think he can get an insurance policy like Damnation in there if he wants to. And also, he's going to be keeping in a card like his 3 Liliana of the Veil. So potentially, the Damnation in the early game, if he doesn't need it, he can just discard it to the Liliana in the mid to late game. Mm-hmm. And so he hasn't lost a whole lot there.
That's true. You see both players are going back to the drawing board a little bit here. Devon with a big smile on his face as he's just got clowned by some goblins. Not a lot he could do about it.
Just punked by a whole bunch of Cedric Phillips tokens.
And look, you're going to keep that opening hand with Grafdigger's Cage.
Oh, yeah.
You play a Grafdigger's Cage, you've drawn one of your high-leveraged sideboard cards, you're feeling pretty good. Great spot to be in. He's got to be able to get rid of this to be able to kill me in most instances, and that's actually not true that game.
Yeah, he had the turn 1 Cage, he had turn 2 removal spell for Baral.
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, there were 10 goblins backing it up.
That is unfortunate. That is a little bit rough. So Devon Teague will be on the play here for game number 3. These two having a pretty good time as they both sit at 9 and 2. Let's talk very quickly about Jacob Ball Energy Token. He's our Atlanta Invitational champion, our most recent one, and he'll be trying to defend his crown in just a couple weeks in Roanoke, Virginia. This Energy Reserve token is what he chose for winning the Invitational. A couple ways to go about getting it very quickly. All open participants and classic participants will get this token, and all orders from StarCityGames.com, $5 or more. Congratulations to our Invitational champion. Jacob Baugh winning that Invitational in Atlanta, qualifying for the Players' Championship, made a healthy run there. And someone who's no stranger at our Players' Championship and Invitational wins, of course, Caleb Scherer. That's why you've seen his Storm token on screen, because he won that in Vegas a couple of years ago.
There's a lot of sweet tokens, and yeah, a lot of sweet tokens out there.
Oh, yeah. One of the perks of playing those StarCityGames.com Invitationals, and we look forward to seeing hopefully each and every one of you at that Invitational weekend in some way or another 3 weeks from now in Roanoke, Virginia. For now, we're going to see a discard spell and Inquisition of Kozilek off a Concealed Courtyard. Caleb is going to lose a Desperate Ritual. You see the hand there of 2 Goblin Electromancers. They passed in flames in a couple of lands. He'll draw a card now. He's picked up a Spire Bluff Canal. See where Caleb wants to go. He's going to play a Spire Bluff Canal and simply pass the turn back over to Devon Teague. Remember, Devon Teague has main deck copies now. Spellbound this week, and 2 of them good against Death Shadow to slow down Tassiger, Grimag Angler, and Snapcaster Mage. Also good against Dredge, one of the most played decks here this weekend.
Yep, and then, like I said, collateral damage against a deck like Storm, the Abzan Traverse deck. A lot of value in that card.
But you can't forget, too, it cantrips. So it's a fine card to play main deck.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised he didn't wait a turn on this Collective Brutality, knowing that there was double Electromancer in his opponent's hand.
So he could kill one of them?
Yeah.
Sure. He did catch a Pass in Flames. That's all well and good as Caleb draws another copy of Goblin Electromancer. He'll play his first of 3 and pass the turn back. I am a little surprised by that as well. Could have gotten a little bit more value, as they say, out of that Collective Brutality. Let's see what this one is. It's another Collective Brutality, discarding a Lingering Souls. Well, unfortunately for Devon, Caleb drew another copy of Goblin Electromancer, so Collective Brutality could have been a little bit better. But I actually think Devon has a copy of Surgical Extraction in hand, so this is going to be ugly.
Yeah, this could be great for him.
Devon in the draw step. In the draw step, my friend. Let him draw another one. Boo!
Ooh. Ooh, that's dirty.
Is there any way for us to see the top card? He actually looked.
Yeah, he peeks.
He looked himself. All right, good man. Love it.
Helping us out.
Yep.
Now Devon needs to get something on his board.
Yes.
You know, this is a great start for him. Caleb has 2 lands on the board, 2 lands in his hand, nothing else going on.
Yep.
Devon, get something on the board, start clocking him.
Caleb's hand has been absolutely decimated. He does have a Lingering Souls in the graveyard.
Yep.
Not the best clock in the world, but it is something to get the party started. Oh. Perhaps Caleb boarded out an Electromancer.
Yeah, he had a decent number of cards he wanted to board in. So.
Okay. No land there for Devon. So now we go back over to Caleb, who's predictably drawn a copy of Brawl, but he's not going to play. A little patience here for Mr. Scherer. Siege Rhino the draw there for Devon. He's going to recast and flashback a Lingering Souls. 2 Spirits on the way, and Caleb's going to sacrifice a Polluted Delta.
Yeah, Devon needs a green source real bad.
And yes, he does. Looking for a Tarmogoyf for Scavenging Ooze. All those other green cards that make his deck get rolling. But he does have a clock on the table, though it is a slow one.
It's all right.
Better than no clock.
He's got a Rhinoceri waiting in the wings.
It's true. Yeah, another Brawl. Nice. Cost Reducer Mania. There's that. Pass turn back. Somebody needs to give some given.
Yeah, Caleb is a creature deck. we didn't realize.
Very well known as there's a Fatal Push. In for 2. Shear's going to fall down to 17.
And the way this game is shaking out right now, it's actually breaking very well for Caleb. Not a whole lot of pressure. Go ahead, burn up some removal spells on my redundant cost reducer creatures. Mm-hmm. Give me lots of time to rebuild my hand.
Caleb's last card is another copy of Baral, Chief of Compliance. Let's see what he's able to add. All right. Sleight of hand. Take a look. It's a Serum Visions and a Manamorphose. Both are good.
All right.
Both are good.
That gets the party started.
Here's Baral. Well, I take it back. Here's Serum Visions.
Yeah, not yet.
Pyretic Ritual, so he's trying to build towards a little something here. 2 lands. Blech. I think those will both go to the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah. Doesn't want to see those. Kick it back over to Devon. 2.
Still no green source.
Shambling Vents. Nice. Nice and slow. Desperate Ritual to draw. Remember, Caleb does have a Past in Flames in the graveyard.
Yep.
In for 2 more. And there's your green land in Blooming Marsh. Now it's a Gifts Ungiven.
Oh, man.
We are building towards something.
Yeah, this is really close.
Pass.
Whoop.
The whole entire table over. That's all right. He'll fix it.
What do we call that? A dexterity mistake?
Yes. Dexterity issue. It's okay.
First one of those we've seen this week.
Indeed. For 2. Caleb's going to fall down to 10. Rhino.
Well, if he can play a threat and leave removal up for a 2 casting cost guy,
That would be ideal.
that's what he needs to do here.
Ugh. Wait, with no green mana. Wait, but is that a Twilight Mire?
Ooh, that was a good
That's
one.
plenty of green mana. Nice.
How absurd this game
This
is.
is a weird game.
This is so absurd.
Pairings for round 4 are being posted.
Don't do it now, Devon. There's no rush.
There is really no reason to move.
Well, I think he's wondering if he should deploy another threat.
What do we got here?
He's going after the graveyard.
I think the Past in Flames and what else? The Desperate Ritual. All right.
Uh-oh. He might get bit for this.
All right, Gifts Ungiven. Can you take Caleb all the way home? Can he make what would be one heck of a comeback? Remember, Caleb got Surgical Extract in this game. Lost multiple Goblin Electromancers.
Yep, out of his hand.
Yep, it's been ugly, to say the least. But some draw steps have cooperated, and we're going to see if the Storm Master can steal this game from the Abzan man.
This is the last call to register for our 1 p.m. Legacy Challenge. Once again, 1 p.m. Legacy Challenge has 5 minutes in registration.
Does Caleb have 2 rituals and Baral in his hand?
He has Baral, I believe, a Pyretic, and a Desperate.
I think he's good to go here.
I like his shot right now, I do.
He's going to get the same thing he got in game 1, where it's 3 rituals and a Past in Flames, I would expect.
Yep. Pyretic Ritual, Desperate Ritual, Manamorphose.
And he's going off next turn. Maybe Devon has a Fatal Push in his grip.
Or Path.
Or a path to break this up, but if he doesn't.
And we know he's got a Siege Rhino.
Yep.
That's one thing we know. He's got 2 cards, one of them mystery.
I didn't think we were going to get here.
No. I am surprised to say the least. Now Devon Teague's got a lot to think about with splitting these cards up. Those rituals will go to the graveyard again. So Caleb will get a Manamorphose and a Past in Flames. And now we're going to find out one way or the other, because Caleb doesn't really have a lot of options at this point. He'll draw a card. Spiralbluff Canal, horrible again.
Every time we've seen that card
Absolutely terrible. Obviously, you're going to play in your deck 100 times out of 100, but it has shown up at the worst possible times. Here's Baral, Chief of Compliance. This is a Pyretic Ritual. All right. Caleb says, okay, I'm allowed? Cool. I like that. Here's a Desperate Ritual. Can I do this? Yes, I like that too. He's up to 5.
Yeah, you're giving me the green light.
Mm-hmm. Manamorphose. 4 red, 2 blue. Draw a card. Another copy of Baral. Awful. But
doesn't matter, yeah.
Past in Flames is good. No response. Give me that graveyard. What can I do? 5 spells here for Caleb. Pyretic makes it spell 6. Desperate is spell 7. And now here's Gifts Ungiven. Remember, that one is going to be spell number 8. More importantly, it only costs 3 mana. So we'll see what Caleb wants to dig out. He's looking for at least 1 Grape Shot, a Pyretic Ritual.
Yeah, it's just some more mana sources and the Grape Shot. And he's going to win this game.
I think you are right, Craig. I actually think you are right. You see the manas in Pyretic Ritual, Desperate Ritual, Manamorphose, and a Grape Shot. After having his hand torn apart, his graveyard eaten a little bit by Scavenging Ooze.
Yep.
It looks like... Let's see, where are those cards going?
Well, he's created a second graveyard.
Okay.
Because those cards are not affected by the flashback ability of
Past in Flames?
Past in Flames.
Sure.
Now they will have flashback.
Got it.
So it's just some bookkeeping there, so to speak.
Desperate. Pyretic.
He's got plenty of mana.
That's not the issue.
Yeah, and he's got plenty of spells.
Desperate and Pyretic again. Looks like he's got 15 spells played. He's got all these cantrips he can play. There's a Manamorphose. That's a ritual and a cantrip. Might be the best card in the whole deck. Guess Ungiven's no slouch, of course. And that is going to do it.
Yeah.
Caleb Scherer is going to win this match over Devon Teague, 2-1. Blue Red Gift Store, maybe a steal one here against Abzan, as Devon just came up a touch short. And it was the combination of Empty the Warrens on turn number 2, game number 2, and a little bit of resiliency as Devon Teague took a while to get off the ground. Means that Caleb Scherer is 10-2.